Hello, welcome to DIY is my happy place. I'm Amy, and today I'm going to talk about 3 DIY projects that I did that did not make me happy. This is a video about 3 of my epic fails and how I got through it. I don't usually like to do this kind of a video, but I decided sometimes it's good to see DIYers make mistakes too. Usually this is when I say, let's have some fun, but I'm going to say, let's have some fun. I updated my countertops and backsplash in this home about 5 years ago, and I used a Stone Coat Countertop epoxy, painted it to look like marble, and I've done a YouTube video showing how I did this and how I made my own backsplash, etc. And I really loved it, actually. I've loved it for about 5 years. But the one thing that I found was over time, it started to yellow. And so it no longer looks like this beautiful gray, whitish marble. It started to look kind of yellowish. So here's the before. And then the other thing was I decided I want to renovate and update the kitchen. I thought the dining room would look better if I had that desk area, cabinet above it, and that backsplash all taken out, and it just being a blank wall. I also decided while I was working on this, I may as well refinish the hardwood floor and put up new baseboard all around in the dining room. So I watched some tutorials, figured out what I was going to do, made a plan, and the first thing was to order the new top coat. This wasn't even a thing when I initially did my Stone Coat Countertop, but this is a new system that you can put on your regular poured epoxy, and it makes it a lot hardier and a matte finish. And I just decided, yeah, I think it's time for me to have the matte look. Taking on all 3 of these projects in a month's time was, needless to say, a lot. And I actually had 3 major problems arise when I was working on this, and talk about getting discouraged. So let me show you some of my major flops that happened while I was trying to renovate my lovely kitchen. First of all, I had a major disaster while refinishing my countertops. I'm going to give you more details in a minute. Yes, I also had issues with my hardwood floor that I refinished. Last but not least, my baseboards. So the bottom line is, while working on my kitchen renovation, I had 3 major flops. Now that's when you know you're not having a good day. In fact, from start to finish, it took an entire month to fix the problems that arose. So let me start with my countertops and talk about attempt number 1 on my countertops. The problem with the countertops, I did have quite a few attempts. So this is what they looked like after I put epoxy top coat on. Not bad. In fact, now that I look back at this, I wish I would have stopped right here and just called it good. And this is when I have my baseball analogy. When I made it to first base, and I should have called it, but when you look close, you see that you can still see the yellowing underneath, and that was driving me crazy. So I considered that attempt a fail and decided, nope, I'm going to do it again. So I ordered more top coat, and the bottom line was I didn't put enough dye into the top coat to cover the yellowing, so I could still see the yellowing underneath. So attempt number 2 was also a fail. By now, I was really starting to get discouraged, and I just didn't know what to do. I'd spent quite a bit of money. I wish I would have just ordered new countertops and not done anything with it. But at this point, I'm in so far, and I'm kind of learning as I go. And I just thought, it would cost me so much to order new countertops now. It's a very big kitchen, and I didn't have the heart to do it. So I tried attempt number 3. And attempt number 4. In the meantime, while I was waiting for the epoxy to come in, I went ahead and painted my bottom cabinets, and I kept on working on my other renovations in the house. Always with the back of my mind, knowing that the countertops were a disaster. Somewhere along the lines, I lost track of what attempt was what. This might have been 3, it might have been 4. I think it's probably 2 and 3. I don't know. I tried going darker to cover up the yellow, and that was a disaster. One spot was dark, one spot was light. It was awful. So the bottom line is, top coat does not like to go onto top coat. Some areas were thick, some were not. Disaster, as you can see. So after 4 attempts, I was just ready to call it a day. But again, I just needed one more try. After being so discouraged, I decided it was time to take a break, use some of my construction supplies, and create a drum set for my granddaughters, and have a little fun, regroup, try again tomorrow. So for the 5th time, I ordered another order of Ultimate Top Coat, color, and some fleck. And by this time, I don't even want to talk about how much money I have into this. So frustrating. Had to sand down in between each time. I mean, the amount of sanding required when you're using top coat is out of control. Because the whole point with top coat is to make it so strong and durable, right? So it doesn't love being sanded. Then once I got it on, finally, just doing pure white, the top coat started to bubble. I don't know if it was because of the humidity in Omaha, the heat. I was trying to keep it as, at the right temperature, but it bubbled. And by this point, let's just face it, by the 5th attempt and having it a fail, I was just done. I'm fine with average. That's all I can say. I was not going to do a single extra try. The top coat stuff was even bubbling up in the tray. I mean, I tried to contact Stone Coat Countertops and I never got a single reply. I'm just saying, it was the most discouraging month ever. And every single time I ordered epoxy, it took about 8 days for it to come in. So this just kept going on and on and on. So in between, I was sanding down my hardwood floors, getting them back to the natural wood, and that all went pretty smoothly. I was really happy with that, with the exception of one thing, and this kind of hit on one of the really bad epoxy days. I had 2 cans of top coat to go on my floor, and I put the first coat down and ran out of that can, so then I got the second can, and lo and behold, after it dried, I could see a very distinct line between the 2 different colors, and so that had to be sanded down and recoated as well. Okay, and then the third big thing that happened was my baseboards. I decided to do taller baseboards in the dining room area since I took out that desk, and I had tall baseboards in my living room, and I wanted that all to match. Well, halfway through installing those, I ran out, so I went to get more, and they were out of stock. Strike 3. At this point, I wish I would have never even started this renovation. It was fine the way it was before. But now I've finally done the best I can, and here is what it looks like now. I am sure glad it's done. I went ahead and had a new oven installed, so now all the appliances match with stainless steel, and I actually rolled out the rest of the bubbles. I was able to flatten them out with a rolling pin, and came back a few days later, and they really were solid. I flattened them out when it was still, before it had completely finished drying, all except this one corner. This one corner would not flatten out. What can I say? I'm calling it a day. I'm just going to have to be happy with mediocre. Well, there you have it. My epic fails. What do you think? Have you had any projects that you've worked on really hard and long, and no matter how hard you try, they keep on failing? I'd love to hear. Comment below and let me know, what is your biggest epic fail DIY project you've ever done? And how did you get through it? I'd love to hear more. And I will have more next week, but this time without the fail. Hopefully. See you soon. See ya.